What up, what up, what up, football fans all over the world? It is your boy, Mac the Giants fan, here with my guy, the super dope co-host, Adam Costas. Y'all know what time it is. It's time for that real deal NFC East round up. Punch that intro. What is going on out there, everybody? In football land, it is here, baby. It's almost that time. We are a little more than 24 hours away from opening kickoff to get this 2024 season popping. Adam, how you feeling, brother?
It's the most wonderful time of the year. I am excited, my friends. Football is back. We are here. Let's do this, my friend. We are back, folks. We are back from now until probably February. Let's just put it out there. Let's be bold. Let's have some fun. We're going to be here till February, baby, because there will be an NFC East team representing in the Super Bowl this year.
What is going on? What is up, Daniel Barry? Appreciate you stopping in, always checking in, man. I appreciate that. No Mets, no Nets, no Jets. Our guy, always here holding down the chat. 10 wins for the G men. Oh, no Mets, no Nets with the bold
Coming out with the
prediction.
fire. Fire.
But six ugly wins, four cool ones. Hey, look, I don't give a fuck how they are. A win is a win for me. It don't matter. If it's pretty or ugly.
Like
I'll take it.
7 ugly wins and 10 blowout losses. No, I'm just kidding.
But we'll get right to it, man. We go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's talk a little bit of Eagle Green Bay starting things off Friday night for the NFCs down in Sao Paulo, Brazil.
Don't wear green,
First off, I do want to gotta say something before we go into the actual game itself. The NFL, man, kind of shame on you, NFL. You got to do your due diligence, man. You got to do your due diligence a whole lot better, NFL, man. Y'all sending these guys down basically into the hood. These guys don't even want to leave their hotel. They're calling their families and telling their families don't bother coming to the game because it's so unsafe in the area where you got these guys at, man. Like, I don't understand, NFL. How can you not be on top of all of these kind of things? You got them playing in the stadium where they can't even wear the color green, and yet you got two teams that wear the color green going down there and playing. I mean, NFL, you got to do better. You got to do better. You got two of your premier franchises right now in the NFC conference going down there playing a huge game down in Brazil, and you got them out there kind of looking over their shoulder, making sure somebody ain't coming to rob them or do some other crazy shit to them. I mean, NFL, man, you got to do better. That's all I got to say about that. We can get to the game, man.
Well, that's kind of funny that they would make. I mean, it's the NFL is one of the biggest organizations in the world, right? And you have you can't even see that this is bad when you're researching the area. Like, oh yeah, Brazil, cool, that's cool. You don't bring like the Arizona Cardinals or the 49ers or I don't know, maybe the Rams or the Detroit Lions. No, you bring two green teams there, and one has green in his name. They're going to just be called the Bay Packers right now, or maybe just the Packers for this week because green is out of it, right? So that is just insane by the logistics team. You really need to research that. You know, if this is really what's going on in the thing, you really need to research that. You need to have that's like us going to a city and not knowing what restaurants are there, what things are to do, what itinerary is there. If you get the vibe with your people, because this is the NFL, you're trying to grow your brand, and one of your marketing interns goes, "Hey, how about Sao Paulo, Brazil? Party, all the beautiful people, right?" And you get there and you find out it's the highest crime rate in that country, and you still decide to not move the game. You had ample time to move the game. I'm sorry, I know that it was probably paid for, and that's probably why you're not doing it, is because the venue is already paid for. You are a stubborn mule. You're like, we're going to have this party here no matter what, right? Because we paid for it. So that's exactly what Roger Goodell's doing. He could have said they make enough money where they probably could have like dead that loss and made more money in the other city that they moved it to, right? I know they've done it in New Mexico before, you know, they've done it in Mexico City as well. You know, why would you go back to a place with this much crime? I don't know. NFL, get it right. Roger Goodell, get it right. Oh, but by the way, I need to share a piece of news when we get there. Remind me, and I can see if I can direct people to it, because I saw something that was hysterical. So, unless you want me to get into it now.
Yeah, it's just they just gotta do it better. You can go ahead and get into it now if you like. Might as well. We just be talking about it.
So we are in the NFL season, correct? And they did a preview for the Manning cast. If you guys have not seen the Manning cast, the musical, a 10-minute video with Eli Manning and Peyton Manning doing a musical with NFL people, it is hysterical. Brian Daboll actually makes a cameo in it. It is one of the funniest things I've seen in a long time. The Mannings are they're just not only are they football gold, they're TV gold right now. They're the golden goose. If you want ambassadors to build and grow the game, put the Mannings on something, because my golly, and they have another Manning coming up in a few years. Hopefully, I'm not waiting that long to get another Manning, but there is one coming up through the ranks. So they got the lineage to keep going, my friends. They'll be here a while, but I suggest everyone find that video. It's a 10-minute video clip of promoting the NFL and promoting the NFL Madden cast. It got a lot of cameos. It's a lot of fun. I recommend you guys go check it out. I laughed at it. One of the funniest things I've seen so far regarding the NFL. So I just wanted to throw that out there about that.
Appreciate it. I mean, let's get into this game, because actually, after all that, we stated, about how the NFL kind of fumbled the ball here a bit.
Pun intended.
We still got a game. We still got a game to play, nonetheless. And it's a big time opening week game between two playoff teams from a season ago in the NFC. Green Bay Packers, man, looking to prove that they weren't a fluke last year. The Eagles looking to try to just rebound after the way their season ended a season ago. Matt, what are your expectations from this one? Things you expect to see out here Friday night between these two teams? I mean, the Eagles didn't really show us a whole lot in the preseason, so it's going to kind of be truly our first look at this new look Eagles offense.
I think you're going to get a track meet. I really do. I think you're going to get an absolute track meet. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. If you like offense, this is what you're going to see. Okay, you're in a town, a new city. Everybody's foreign. Everything's different. It should be a fun time to get out there. And I think the high-powered offenses that they got going on, because Jordan Love's over there, they've got their receiving core and their line. They're retooling. Their defense got upgraded with Xavier McKinney. Some familiarity with the Eagles, so it's not like he's going to be foreign to it. So you're going to see some familiar faces out there. You got Saquon Barkley debut. It's kind of interesting, right? He doesn't get jumbled up with the rest of the games on Sunday. He actually gets a prime time slot. They put him on there, so you guys get to watch. Giant fans, I don't know if this is the NFL slapping in the face, but you get to watch Saquon Barkley solely as the only. You can't flip around. If you're looking for football, you might get a college game and the NFL. That's it. So you're either going to be forced to watch Saquon Barkley, and maybe he has a good game. I think he's actually going to have a pretty good game against Green Bay. Or you sit on your hands and you watch college football and don't enjoy the NFL season. I don't know what to tell you, because he's going to be out there. He's going to be toting that green, or excuse me, that black or that white or whatever color they're wearing, that alternate out there. And it's going to be a high-scoring game. I'm looking to see in this game the offensive diversity of the Eagles. Have they evolved from their 11 personnel type of situation last year, where they were just in shotgun and had no motion and were very vanilla? Because that worked up until a certain point. This is where the Eagles' season peaked for me last season. When they beat the Buffalo Bills and the Kansas City Chiefs, to me, they kind of were like, okay, we're done. We've slayed the beast. We beat the Kansas City Chiefs after they beat us in the Super Bowl. And after that, it seemed to me they just, I wouldn't say mailed it in, but that was like the culmination of like, this is all the work we put in. We know we can slay the beast, and then they kind of just coasted the rest of the way, right down the stretch. After those kind of, you can remember they're like 10-1, right, and then down the stretch they won one game against the Giants and lost the rest because they played Buffalo and Kansas City. And I think, like I said, I think those games, boom, and then they got figured out. So now they have Kellen Moore, and let's see. I've heard, I do a little research. I don't do a lot, but I do some research to find out what the other opponent's doing, not just for this show, but just for my own curiosity. And they said that there's a lot of motion and movement. So I'm looking to see how this offensive line produces. If this is going to be a dynamic offense with 3 first-round receivers and a first-round running back. I mean, you want to talk about draft capital and resources, right? You want to talk about an all-star team. Well, guess what? They've got all-star talent because they're not afraid to make the moves. They went out and they got Devontae Smith. They traded for A.J. Brown. They said, let's give another one. They went out and invested valuable assets and took a chance on their quarterback. They swung on him in the first place in the second round when they already had a guy. And now they built around him, and they're giving him a back in the backfield that's also a first-round pick, a number 2 overall pick that still has some juice left. So if you're a football fan, you should be excited to watch both these teams who were pretty good last year. And could be a preview of the NFC Championship game. Who knows? Alex, what's going on?
It's very possible. What's up, Alex, man? Thank you for stopping in, too. Appreciate that. But, yeah, it's very possible to be at this game. I know it's only a week 1 matchup, but this NFL season is starting off on a great note. Thursday night, KC and Baltimore could very well be a preview of the AFC Championship game. Very, very. That's a strong possibility. And this Green Bay and Philadelphia game the same way in the NFC, man. It could very well be potentially a preview of that. 2 of the, like I said, better teams. I think people have them as 2 of the better teams in the conference for sure.
The NFL is climbing.
This game should definitely bring some excitement, man. Like you said. I think I want to see Jordan Love year 2, man, and see this guy. He just got paid. Let's see if he's really truly worth that money. He had a sensational season a year ago. We all know that, but now you got to come out there with a season's worth of film on you, bro. And now we see separate the boys from the men,
exactly,
so to speak. So I'm curious to see what Jordan Love can do now in year 2 as a full-time starter for the Green Bay Packers, man. And this is a great way to get started off going against a very strong and I'm sure very eager to get the ball rolling Philadelphia team. Exactly.
Their defense is revamped. Maybe we should kick it to that side of the ball real quick because the Eagles have Vic Fangio, as you guys know. And he is the defense coordinator now for the Eagles. He was there on their Super Bowl team. He was a consultant. Someone enlightened me about that. I did my own research to follow up with the lead that they gave me. And he was a consultant on that team that had 70 sacks. So what does that mean? Well, there's some familiarity with some of the players already there. It's probably a little bit of what they did back then. And now they have the personnel to probably run it with Devin White, Zach Ball. I know Devin White's injured right now. I don't know if he'll be a game time decision.
White, he's been ruled out, I think. I think they ruled him out already.
Okay, well, then they'll have Nakobe Dean or one of the other guys come in. I still think they won't miss too much of a beat in that regard, but they're going to have to come downhill. Jordan Davis is going to need to play out of his mind. I'm looking at Jalen Carter. We were talking about Jordan Love on the Green Bay side and all the receivers that the Eagles have. Jalen Carter to me is a guy I want to focus on this game. If he is the guy that we think he's going to be, and I don't want to use Aaron Donald because people get hooked on a name. They don't get hooked on your comparison. They get hooked on a name. So a Rams defender, war number 99, who's very not similar, but he wreaked havoc in a different way. I want to see Jalen Carter be his own man, but you're probably going to start to draw comparisons to him. I want to see if he can impact the game the way that we were thinking. Remember, he was a 9th overall pick. I think he's from Georgia, right? And he could have been the number 1 overall pick, but he had some trouble with obviously the DUI that he had. I think there was also an accident involved. I don't want to get too much into the history of what went on because that's his business, and they got to deal with it. And hopefully he's learned his lesson from whatever he did there, right? Is he going to be that guy? Because this is where he needs to take that leap, and if he takes that leap, to superstardom that we think he's going to be, then this Eagle defense is going to not need to worry about much because he's going to be taking up the double teams. And a guy like Jordan Travis, they got there. They also got Bryce Huff on the other side. So they got some guys that they can get to rush the passer. And it will really be interesting to see what they do because a lot of these teams that have good front sevens, right, and good cornerbacks, they can allow the front to get home, right, if they can play some man. And with the young Eagle secondary that you got, that front is pretty good. That's what they're probably going to try to rely on and not bring a blitz. Let's see if they can hold up and their linebackers can do what they want, right? I will like to see what happens with Josh Jacobs in this game because a lot of people forget that Green Bay has a good running back too, not just Saquon Barkley. We have another good running back in Josh Jacobs. So I want to see how that chess matches plays out because if the Eagles stop the run, it's going to be interesting to see how they pressure Jordan Love and if what they can do to kind of stifle him.
I mean, it's going to be a lot. I mean, that's why I think the Eagles have a lot to prove right there. Like I said, that their run defense has been questionable at best the last couple of seasons, and I think that that's an area right there where they need major improvement, and they get it like you said a stiff test here with Josh Jacobs, who will obviously will run that ball right downfield if they allow him to on Friday night, man. But I will go flip the other side a little bit. I mean, just imagine, just picturing right now the first time you see Xavier McKinney come up, maybe filling the gap or something, and Saquon had to
Ex-teammate.
meet Saquon right there head on, ex teammate. I was like, you just can't script this shit any better. I mean, two big time free agents, Giants let walk away this past
And I hope
off
they have good
season,
games. I
and
hope
now
they
they
both
get
have
to
good
go.
games.
They get to go ahead up. I mean, I think that. I mean, I think they can. I think they both will. I mean, they obviously got paid for a reason from the teams that took them in this past all season. We obviously know the talent that they both have. So I look forward to seeing them, man.
I think we're going to feel the
Seeing them
effects
out there,
of the
that'd be pretty
talent.
cool to see.
I think we're going to feel the effects of the talent out there. Not only we're going to see it on display because McKinney's probably going to clean up a lot of that stuff. So when you're watching for deep passes, look who they're going to. Look what they're going to do. I think the Eagles are going to try to attack underneath where McKinney is going to be. Now the question will be again, with this offense, you're going to have one-on-one matchups, and they're going to have to play over the top. So you may not always see McKinney come down to the box and crash because he's going to try to clean up these cornerbacks because they're going to have to leave one on an island because when you're playing Saquon Barkley, this is what people forget. That is what Barkley is going to do. Now, if you have those good receivers, now you're also bringing out a guy, right? So you're bringing the defender off of you. So let's see what happens now because with more open space for him to run, Barkley could be the difference in how the game goes for Philadelphia, catching the pass underneath and running the ball. Because if they're covering, if McKinney's shadow blanketing all these receivers from sideline to sideline, right? Barkley will have a chance to run. I'm gonna, like Nomad said, I'm gonna love to see the theater. I'm gonna love to see the collision, see what they do if they take a business decision, if they're lighthearted, if they really come down and kind of hit each other. But it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun to see, and I'm excited for. I'm not necessarily. I can't believe I'm excited to watch this kind of game, but with all that Barkley's been through and all that McKinney went through with this organization that we're going to talk about in a few, I kind of want to see them get their due and kind of play well. Like see, this is what you let walk out the door. This is what you decided to do, right? I didn't have that with anybody else. Like Evan Ingram, I could care less. I'm glad he's doing well in Jacksonville. But like guys like Barkley, we say we don't keep players, and this is the reason why. And we'll find out how good they are. I hope they both have good games, and I hope we get to see them knock helmets a little bit.
I think we will. I absolutely think we will, man. Let's have a little fun for a minute, man. Let's do some do little over unders or something. Some over unders or something, man.
Dun, dun,
Saquon
dun,
Barkley,
dun.
man. Let's start with Mr. Saquon Barkley, man.
Barkley.
Say over under 80 yards on the ground against Green Bay on Friday night.
Ooh, over under 80 yards on the ground. I'm going to say over.
Think he's gonna come out and have a big night in his Philadelphia debut?
I
Yeah, I don't
think
know.
you said
Possible.
you
I can
said
see. I
I,
can see it.
So you want me to give a number? Like you said, over under 80
I
yards.
mean,
You want me to be fine? I
yeah.
think he's going to rush. I think he's going to have. Here are my numbers for Barkley. Ready? Not to say this. He's going to have 20 carries for a buck 25, a touchdown, and 5 receptions, receiving for about 60 yards.
Okay. Okay. That'd be a good day. That'd be a good night
Because
for Mr.
remember,
Barkley.
I'll say this before we go on to the next over. Before Mac does his over unders, he did have a couple big runs against Green Bay. Remember with the Giants last year, he basically sealed the game with like a 50-yard run. So he's going to have a better offensive line. Guys are going to be over the top. He's going to be straight eating for that man. So I expect a big game.
Big day for Saquon Barkley. Okay, okay. How about
What about you?
hmm. Oh, what do I you said you wanna know what I think?
Yeah,
I
he's
think yeah, I was trying to avoid that. No, I think he'll go over. I think he will go over. I think he's gonna go out there and make a statement, man. I think he wants to go make a statement with his new team. He's playing, like I say, like we
trying to
mentioned,
avoid
he's
it.
playing behind absolutely the best offensive line, the best offensive line that he's ran
Make me
behind
look
his
like
whole
the bad
entire
guy.
career. And I, I think, and I think he's gonna go out there and have a night, man. I think he's gonna have a good. I think he's gonna have a good night against that Green Bay Packers defense, man. I really do.
See what
I
he does
really
to me,
believe that.
folks. See what he does to me. Tries to get me to talk about the Eagles, then he'll walk away with no over unders. You see that? No, I'm just kidding. Who's next?
Let's go. Let's go. Jalen Hurts, man. Jalen Hurts. In
You
this
want
new
his
offense,
numbers?
new system, all these weapons all around him. Jalen Hurts. Over under. Let's say over under 270 yards passing in
I'm
that
gonna
game.
go. I'm gonna go under, but
Oh,
that doesn't mean he's not having a solid game. Because I think they're gonna run on the ground. I
you
think he's gonna
believe
have
he's
like. I think he's gonna have a solid game. He's gonna be efficient, 250 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a rushing touchdown. Right? And it'll be, and it won't be because it'll be because they're winning and Saquon Barkley is dominating. Like if you give Saquon Barkley 125 yards rushing, right, then you're going to be taking away something from the air. So I think with that being said, Jalen Hurts doesn't have to take the game over. So I think about 250 and 2 touchdowns. I'll take the under there.
I'm taking the over there. I think the Eagle offense is just too damn explosive. I think defenses gonna have to pick their poison, and it's just gonna leave you in a bad way. And I think as long as they can go out there and execute properly, it's gonna be a long day for any team playing against that Eagle offense. I think it's just too much, man. They got way too much firepower on that side of the football, man. As long
I
as
do
that
think they'll
defense
take
can
more
hold up,
shots.
I think they absolutely will. I think you're going to see guys just all over the place, wide open. It's just going to be. I think but it's going to base. It's going to depend on their execution. They got to be able to execute this new the Kellen Moore system. Like I said, we haven't really gotten a good look at it
How
at
Dotson,
all, other than little practice clips. But yeah, I mean, it's just this offense is going to be wide open, man.
dude. I hate to say this because I use this
Wide
analogy a
open,
lot.
man.
I've used this analogy a lot, but this has to be the greatest show on turf. Just 20 years later, because Marshall Falk, Saquon Barkley. You've got
It's
Isaiah Keelan, Josh Dotson. You've got Isaac Bruce and Devontae Smith, and then you have AJ Brown, who doesn't really compare body wise, but I guess he could be Torrey Holt. Either one, pick your poison. You know what I'm saying? Like they had three of the best, all four of those guys are in the
crazy.
Hall of Fame. All four of the guys on that team are in the Hall of Fame, and they have bona fide studs across the board. It's insane to think.
I mean, it's absolutely nuts, man. Absolutely nuts. Like that was a great comparison too, because you're right. This the way this offense appears to be constructed. It looks very eerily similar to those Rams teams from back in the earlier 2000s. But It's not slobbing the Eagles, bro. It's just keeping it real. I mean, they're a good football team.
This is
I
the
mean, I don't know
NFC
what you
East.
want us to say.
This guy, that's
They're
that troll
not.
from last
They're
night.
good.
Don't worry about him.
They're good.
This
I
is the
mean, I
NFC
don't know.
East.
I don't like to have to sit there and admit that, but it's the truth. They are. I mean, they're loaded. I wish the talent they had was the Giants roster, and I know a lot of other people, if you're a true Giants fan, would wish that too. But this is where we are. I mean, this is exactly where we are. So I mean, I don't know what else to say. Well, I mean, I don't understand. It's just the truth hurts. The truth does
Well, I
hurt
mean,
sometimes,
it's a
but
real deal
it's the
NFC East
reality.
roundup show, and we're talking about this. We're talking about all four teams. So you have to, ladies and gentlemen, you have to take your hat off as a fan, because as authentic as that may be, we have to be objective as football fans. And this is just what I've, you know, this is just what I have learned in my history of doing this, is that yes, do we want blue colored glasses on? But we give you the real deal. We're not trying to fluff it. And we're just being honest. And as football fans, to show you what we're trying to portray. So while it may be slobbing over the Eagles, we're just trying to explain. Now, if that triggers you because you're a Giant fan and the Giants have been mediocre for God knows how long, I'm sorry, but we got to call it like it is. And just because we're pointing out that the things that they could do offensively as content creators, Mac, it's hurting him inside and twisting his guts up to even say these things. But he's making a show for the
Exactly.
entertainment, for the people, and we're just trying to give you an objective thought process. Okay, so I know that people get mad that we're slobbing the Eagles, and they may not like what we may say about the Giants and their records. All I'm saying, so yeah, the Eagles went on a losing streak last year. Okay, so what?
They
What's your
absolutely
point?
did. We brought that. We mentioned that plenty of times as well.
I mean,
It's not
The
like
Giants
that
went
hasn't
three
been
six and
brought
one
up
in
as well.
2022. Like I don't understand what the argument is and why people are trying to
What's
fight
up,
us
Kenneth?
on many different levels. Like it just doesn't make any sense. We're trying to explain to you the teams, the real deal NFC's roundup. We get and you're worried about our fanhood or this that. Just give me a break. We're gonna if you don't like what we have to say about the
My
Eagles,
fanhood is my fanhood speaks for itself. Like I said, everybody know
right.
who I rolls with. Everybody, people that don't know me know, like they know. Just my presence
I'm just saying.
alone tells everybody who I rolls with.
I'm just saying people are getting
But the
too heated
reality
that
is,
we're talking about the Eagles. Like, give me a break.
oh look. Nonetheless, let's go game predictions here. You know what I mean, how you see this one ball playing out? Who you see winning, taking this one home Friday night down in Brazil?
It's tough. It's tough. I'm going to say the Eagles, but not by much, right? Probably by a field goal, some shit. I'm going to go 31-28. I think it's going to be a high-scoring affair. Vic Fangio's defense is going to come to play, but they have to figure it out first. So it's going to take them a couple series to get into place. And this is the NFL. You're going to have drops. Things happen that are. We could think a perfect game happens, but things might happen where they get points. I think the Eagles are going to squeak it out. They need to make the statement more so than Green Bay. So, what the greatest show on turf? How is that not a good comparison? Just saying. See, you got
It is,
this
but
one.
look. Anyway, I think the Eagles come out here and they roll. I just think they coming out. I think they coming into this season a chip on their shoulder. The way their season ended the season last year, look, that's a sour taste in that team's mouth. A lot of these guys still there on the roster, and they've added even more talent, and they've even become even better than what they were a season ago. So I think they coming in this season with a chip on their shoulder. I think they go out there, and I think they make an impression Friday night, and I think they take out Green Bay, and I think they kind of roll them. Oh well, you ain't heard me say no shit like that. So I would never speak that. They not that damn good. I'm not saying undefeated. I would never say undefeated. They're not doing that.
Oh man,
But anybody saying that's extreme. I'm not saying they're good, but I ain't saying undefeated good.
is Jalen Hurts the weakest link of their offense? I would say. I mean, probably their tight end. But if anything, he is not the all-star talent, I guess. So he'll make he's the straw that stirs the drink. If he's having a bad season, they're not going to go anywhere. If he plays at least how
Well,
he played last year, minus some of the turnovers, they'll be fine. The problem was their offense got stagnant and their defense wasn't that good this year. They've upgraded both offensively. They're doing a little bit different. They're adding motion to their offense. They're doing a little bit more under center, which they haven't done in a while. These things can help elevate your offense. You know what I'm saying? So,
well, the
I think
thing
that
with Jalen Hurts,
go
I
ahead.
think this year is going to say. I think the thing with him this season, going into with this new offense, is he may have some different responsibilities on his shoulders as far as when he get into the line. Some pre snap stuff that he may not have had to be necessarily take care of, like making line adjustments and things of that such things that like a Jason Kelsey probably was handling a lot of while he was there playing center for the Eagles. So I don't. It's gonna be curious to see how Jalen Hurts handles all of this. But like I said, he's their guy. They paid him, and now it's time for him to go out there and you know what I mean and make it happen. And he got all the talent in the world around him to make it happen. So I mean, you got an all-star running back, you got all-star receivers, you got a really good tight end who's also a Pro Bowl caliber guy. I mean, you still have a solid offensive line in front of you, one of the best in the NFL. So there's really no excuses, honestly, as far as I'm concerned. If this team, anything, I mean, look, a team like this, to me, is Super Bowl or bust
Yep.
with a
Yeah.
team like
Yeah.
this.
I
This is
agree.
not just playoffs. This is not just get to the playoffs. This a team like this is Super Bowl or bust. So we'll
That's the
see.
line. That's the line you
We
draw.
will see.
They put it in the sand, not
And
us.
with that, I guess we can move to Sunday. Get to some Sunday action. First game on the docket on Sunday for the NFC East will be the New York Giants hosting the Minnesota Vikings. I know, Adam. I know you got a lot to say, brother. How you feeling about this matchup here on Sunday up in MetLife, man?
You know what's funny is, first off, let me come out and say this. I think the Giants are going to win, right? Okay, just so you can get off my back, everybody. All right, because if I don't pick the Giants to win, but here's if I'm a Viking fan, right? How I'm looking at this game, because I've done a lot of research well, not a lot of research, but I did some research on the Vikings, trying to understand who they are, what they're doing, and a lot of Giant fans I'm hearing are, we're gonna stop the Vikings. We're gonna stop the Vikings. I said, why? Well, they have Sam Darnold. Like, okay. I'm like, and they keep going. They say, they're the Vikings, and they don't really give much more than just Sam Darnold and then the Vikings. Well, when you go look into the Vikings and you see, and when you hear what they're saying, hey, we're going to beat the Giants. And you ask them why, and they go, because they have Daniel Jones. So it's kind of if you look at this game, it's very very even. If you look at both quarterbacks, I'm telling you right now, go look at the stats. This is not me. This is a stat. They both got 12,000 yards. They both got 60 plus touchdowns. They both turned the ball over immensely. They both do the same shit we talk about with Daniel Jones and are frustrated with. They do the same thing with Sam Darnold, and those things happen. Now, again, here's another couple things that I found out that was interesting. One, Josh McCown is the quarterback's coach now for the Vikings. I thought that was interesting because a friend of mine told me, hey,
Yup, G-man.
Sam Darnold had his best years with Josh McCown. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. They might have known. I don't know if Kevin O'Connell knew that when they signed him, but they signed him. And let's be honest, they signed him to be a starter, right? They got him in early free agency. It wasn't like they got him after they drafted a quarterback. They had no idea they were going to be drafting JJ McCarthy. They had no idea if he was going to make it to number 10 or they had to trade up. They were going to try, but there was no guarantees that they were going to get the guy. So they brought in Sam Darnold, right? And from what I've read and learned, that he got improved a little bit with Kyle Shanahan. They said he improved his footwork. And so, again, I'm still listening, still reading more. And pair that with Josh McCown, and now you have Kevin O'Connell. I'm like, oh, that's kind of interesting. I'm like, I don't think he's going to be great, but if you're a Viking fan, you're looking at the Giants, you're like, oh, I see similarities. And then their defense, played particularly well last year. Now, our defensive line is probably slightly better in terms of talent, but they still have Grenard. They have the Dallas kid, the Dallas Turner, who we don't know about, but is having a phenomenal camp. They have Van Ginkel who can play. They got a lot of other off-ball linebackers they can use. And as you dig deeper into this team, you're like, wow, they have Ivan Pace Jr. 100 tackles. They just got Blake Cashman from Houston 100 tackles. They have two solid corners in Brian Murphy, Stephon Gilmore, and then they have Shaq Griffin, right? Harrison Smith and Bynum are their safeties, or two pretty good safeties in the league. They have a formidable secondary and a formidable defense. And if our weakness is technically our offense and our quarterback, or one of the main things that we talk about, or in this case, we talk about Sam Darnold as their weakness, they're going to look at the same thing on our side. And they're going to be like, what we do to Sam, what they think they're going to do to Sam is what we're going to try to do to Daniel. And may the best, average backup quarterback win. The guy that makes less mistakes will win the game. And that's how I think they're going to approach it. Their running back is Aaron Jones. He kind of fits their system and what they're doing. Their offensive line is decent. I'm not saying our guys can't create pressure. I think Dex will, but I think they'll also do some screens, try to alleviate that. But another stat that was interesting that somebody brought up for the Vikings was, I think the Giants are one of the worst teams in first half scoring, and the Vikings are one of the best defenses in stopping their opponents from scoring in the first half, or keeping them with minimal touchdowns. And it really is an interesting matchup because it's fairly even. It's not like the Vikings are overly better. There's going to be opportunities for them to score with Addison and Jefferson. I think they're going to try to go deep. And if they can hold up on the line, they're going to try to score some points because this offense can score. They're going to move the ball. KOC did it with Dobbs and did it with Nick Mullen. So the offense can move. It's just whether or not how many turnovers are going to play out, right? If Daniel Jones gets sacked, is he going to fumble? As opposed to Sam Darnold, when he gets sacked, is he going to fumble? So it's really very even. And, the Giants, you hope they win. I hope they win. But the Vikings people shouldn't just overlook the Vikings because another few things. One, the Vikings have nothing to lose. This is a mulligan season for them. They also know that if they decide they want to win, but again, the Don, so is our quarterback, according to them. According to them, we're booty juice, right? They don't think Daniel Jones is any better than Sam Darnold. So I'm just saying, when you look at it from a schematic standpoint and a matchup standpoint, everything that we were saying about Sam Darnold as Giant fans, he's booty, or what the Viking fans are saying about Daniel Jones. And I'm telling you this because that's what I'm reading and hearing about from their fan base and what they're doing. The other thing that I want to mention is that they play 49ers in week 2. So they're going to try to, win this game and try to get off to a good start because the 49ers are coming to town. The other thing that is going against the Giants that could falter them with all the things that I think their D-line is going to create pressure. I think their offense might score some points. The thing that is, our team took them out of the play. Okay, bro, good story. Daniel Jones stinks. We're not gonna do this today. Okay. The point is, if they can somehow, I lost my train of thought there. Jeez. All right. Well, either way. What I'm saying is there's a lot of drama going on with the Giants. And so the pressure right now, they're saying that they're going to the playoffs. The GM, they're doing all their shit, right? Kind of looking clownish and shit, right? This is another factor that can go into it. If the Giants are down in the game for whatever reason, or they're facing a little adversity, do the boo birds come out? Will they get a little tighter? Because everything is going to be more magnified now. This is the pressure that they put on themselves with what they've done. It does not mean your quarterback, Daniel Jones, said they're going to the playoffs. So these things are going to magnify them. And, you got to stand. I'm standing by that. You say you go to the playoffs, anything less, everybody's got to go. Everybody's got to go. You put this mandate out here. I didn't. You could have stand on your side, but Joe Shane came out and said, be patient. Then a week later, he's like, we got to win. Now Brian Dable's like, we got to win. All this, we got to win. I'm like, listen, man, you got no choice but to win now. There's no excuse. And, look, man, all I'm saying is there's a path to victory for the Vikings that you need to look at if you're a Giant fan. I know a lot of people like to be homers and just rosy-colored, blue-colored glasses on that the Giants can do no wrong. I'm just giving you, as an analytic person, and a just different thought process of what they're saying on the other side. That's all.
Look, this is one of the more evenly probably matched on like evenly, two teams pretty evenly matched up teams for this week one on the week one slate. I mean, basically, and I would say mostly because of the quarterback situation for both teams right now. I mean, look, let's face it. Let's keep it the fuck real. Daniel Jones is not respected league wide. Sam Darnold is not respected league wide. That's just a fact. They're not respected. They're not respected amongst their peer group of other quarterbacks in this league. That makes this matchup like it's just like it could go either way. You got two quarterbacks known for being skittish as shit. Who, if they get the pressure, it's going to come down pretty much to who can apply the most pressure, most likely, because Daniel Jones. We know what he does in the face of pressure. It's not good. It hasn't been a good look. Sam Darnold, he sees ghosts. Whatever. I mean, you can't make this shit up. Like this is it's going to come down to that.
I'm the villain.
Who can handle the pressure the best between these two very, very mediocre quarterbacks? Because neither one of them have demonstrated that a lick their entire career. They haven't been able. They have not. Neither one of them have ever shown the ability to stand in there in the face of pressure and make those key throws down the field that you need your quarterback to make, to stand in that pocket and just be that guy and be that dog. Now, we know about what Minnesota's working with. Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison. Well, Hawkinson's going to be out, but they brought in this offseason, they brought in the fuck's the running back's name? I forgot his name. Aaron Jones. Aaron Jones he's no scrub. I don't know why we're acting like this dude's like a bum or something. He's no scrub. And he's coming in this season also with a chip on his shoulder because Green Bay let him walk out the door and chose to move on instead of paying him. So guys like that, I mean, he's not a scrub. We got to deal with shit like that as well. So it ain't even we're making this about Sam Darnold and Daniel Jones, and I don't even know why. Because it's more to both of these teams than that. I mean, we got to see with Malik Neighbors what's he going to do in his big debut. Is he ready to step up and be that guy that we believe that I believe he can be, because he's a fucking dog. I hope the QB can get the ball to him.
He had a historic game, right? But then he had a historically bad game against the Eagles the following week, okay? Let's call a spade a spade. The Minnesota Vikings secondary is not that secondary that you're playing in 2022. That was the worst secondary in the history of the NFL. So I know that everybody, you get mad because we talk poorly about Daniel Jones. It's in the numbers. He's had one good season, and so has Sam Darnold. They both stink. It's not a bad thing to say the quarterbacks are not that good. They're average. That's what it is. For the love of God. Like, we talk about one game about this guy doing. Blake Bortles went to the AFC Championship game and had a better season than Daniel Jones has ever thrown in his career. But we don't talk about that because we don't care. At the end of the day, we're talking about 2024, and he's got to produce. And that's why he's on the hot seat. But all I was saying is that to look at it from a Vikings perspective, if you look at it from that side of the league, Kurt Warner picked Sam Darnold to have a good game at MetLife Stadium. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I'm not trying to say anything ridiculous, but he's picking Sam Darnold. You know what I'm saying? So some people are out there picking the game, doing what they have to do. I don't know why people get so mad at us, at us giant creators, when we didn't create the problem. We don't go out there and make the tackles. We don't go out there and be 6-10. We don't do any of that shit. But people make it seem like we're the bad guys because we're talking about it. I've never seen this. I know I'm frustrated because I never understand why we are so hell bent on being mad about mediocrity. That's all. Name the weapons he had. Here we go. You want me to relitigate this? I'm not going to relitigate this with you, man. I've got 4 years of videos. Go on my channel. You can find out how I feel about Daniel Jones. Let's move on to something else. Okay.
Look, man, I gave this kid every chance I had up till last season, And all off season, I was pumping this fucking dude up about what he was going to come do. The light bulb was going to come on. They got Darren Waller. He was going to do this. He was going to do that. And he went out there week 1 last year at home, 40 to fucking nothing. He couldn't even get us down the field and put points on the fucking board other than that first damn drive he took us downfield, and that was it. It was a pathetic fucking performance. That's when I fucking was done. I was done with this guy. And I don't understand how you can sit here and keep trying to defend him. Talking about weapons this and weapons that. Good quarterbacks make it the fuck happen under whatever circumstances they facing. I know everybody, Patrick Mahomes don't fall off of trees, but I'm sorry. Who the fuck was he throwing the ball to last year? Other than Jason Kelsey. I mean, Travis Kelsey. Who the fuck was he throwing the ball to? But he was still making it happen because he's the shit. It's a difference. I don't understand how you can defend the bullshit that is number fucking 10. I mean, number 8, excuse me. I apologize, Eli Manning. I apologize for that. The bullshit that is number 8. I don't understand how we can sit here and keep defending that shit. And we sit here and just do it. Like, I'm a fan. I love the team. But I can't defend the fact that we got a bum-ass quarterback that I feel like I'm convinced now he's going to lead us nowhere as long as he's the guy that's back there. I'm sorry. I can't defend that. But anyway, enough of Daniel Jones. I think, you know what, with all that being said, I think he will be the X factor in this game on Sunday. I think he is a little bit better than Sam Darnold, and that might just be the difference in this football game. I think it is. And that's weird to say. After all of this shit, that's what I was going to say anyway, but after all of this, we bring it back to all full circle to that. I think he is a little bit better than Sam Darnold, and I think that he will probably be that little bit of extra X factor to get the Giants over the hump in this game week 1. I do believe that. I actually do. I know it might sound crazy, but it's just the fact of the matter. It's how I feel about this game. I think, like I said, we're sitting here comparing two bum ass quarterbacks. Like I said, and we're sitting here trying to just figure this shit out, and we're sitting in. It's driving me crazy because I don't understand what we're even talking about. We keep making excuse after excuse after excuse. I'm sorry. It's ridiculous at this point. I defended this fucker for 5 years. I defended Daniel Jones. 5 years. I'm not doing it anymore because he's made me look like an asshole every step of the way.
I don't get why people have to be so like so you don't like the quarterback. Who cares? Why do people get so stuck on it? Who cares? You don't like the quarterback? Who cares? That's all. Who gives a damn? Who gives a damn if I don't like the quarterback? That's why I don't understand. Why aren't you put so much energy into trying to combat us? Why don't you put energy into what we might be saying and go research it and go look it up? And if you like mediocrity, fine. I don't. That's why I'm probably overly critical of the team. And maybe that's why it comes off as negative. But being that they're my team and I've seen what greatness is, and to answer a question up there, no QB has done it without anything.
Don,
go ahead.
Don, who the fuck was Tom Brady throwing the ball to all through his big run? Who were the great wide receivers that he had other than Randy Moss? Because don't tell me Wes Welker and all this other shit, and don't tell me no damn Deion Branch, and don't give me that shit. Because those guys who the fuck are those guys without Tom Brady? You barely even know their name. Right now. But you don't give me a break with that. Give me a break. What's going on, Greg? I appreciate you stopping in, man. How's life down there in the Caribbean, man, with you, brother?
I mean, you can technically nitpick everybody then. Joe Montana, he had Jerry Rice and all this. I mean, we can go down the line. At the end of the day, your performance matters. These guys step up and throw. I mean, we can move on from this team into another game because it seems to trigger people. when you talk about this team and criticize or be critical of them because you want to see a winning product out there. And you haven't seen a winning product since number 10 walked out the door and is now making Manning cast commercials because he doesn't need to be on the football field. Right? Right.
Here we go. All right.
Listen,
All right.
you're not going to win. You're not going to win. You're not going to win with that.
But look, anyway, I got the Giants here. You said you got the Giants too?
Yes. I did pick them as well.
All
Oh,
right,
my
we
God.
both got the Giants.
I picked the Giants. Oh, my God. We're haters.
Yeah, we just. I mean, yeah, you're right. No Mets. We definitely got a little bit off sidetracked, man. I didn't even talk about the defense in any way, shape, or form. We expect expectations from the defense. I mean, this defense is going to be tested back on the back end for sure. I think the pressure is going to be up front. They're going to need them to apply a lot of heat on Sam Darnold and disrupt his ass because we obviously know we don't want Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison doing their thing back there in our secondary with the young guys. The New York Giants are going to be rolling out there. And a lot of them seeing their first real NFL action. So I don't know how you feel about that, Adam.
Here's my one issue. I like the front four. We'll see. There's nobody that I really trust next to Dexter Lawrence. That's my weakness, if you would say, in the front four would be let me attack Nachos Rochas because while he is good run defender, you don't really have anybody in there. And I know that we're talking about that guy Chapman. He's a UDFA, man. I don't know, if I want that guy next to Dexter Lawrence, right? Dexter Lawrence can't do it all by himself. People forget how good Leonard Williams was next to Dexter Lawrence, right? And really helped him elevate his game. After he left, Dexter Lawrence, while he is a great player, hasn't really been the same without that guy. But what I'm worried about in this defense is I love Brian Burns. I hope he creates havoc. He's a guy that could be a game changer. And as we talk about the booty cheeks of Sam Darnold being a fumbler, he's a guy that could change that momentum for the Giants and bring you those turnovers. So if you want a big game, and by the way, Joe McCoy, Kurt Warner said Sam Darnold have a big game. Joe McCoy on NFL Network also said that, he's looking for Brian Burns to wreak some havoc. So this is why we pay you $100 million. He needs to go out and make some plays in this game. I'm a little worried because Wink Martindale's defense kind of got us a little overzealous, I think. And that is they were very opportunistic. Sam Bowen's defense is going to be a little bit more laid back. They'll get hands up. They're going to create turnovers, but they're not going to be as blitz heavy. So they're going to try to get there with their front four and kind of cover and tackle. We're going to see if this works. They're also going to play a lot of Isaiah Simmons, being that Micah Fadden is got a groin injury. I know that he was limited this week. He'll probably be limited again. And if he doesn't play, you're going to see a lot of that. So how will the run defense hold up? We talk about the pass defense, and we hope that the run defense does hold up. But the Vikings do have a solid run game, and this could be an area with that wide nine that they play that they might attack. So the defense has really got to play and step up. A lot of young guys you're hoping to, baptism by fire, so to speak. Adoree Jackson, apparently, he came on, and they're not giving him starter money. So I don't know what that means. If I know Joe, it's like $1.25 million. That doesn't scream good player. That screams bargain basement hunting, right? If you look at Gilmore's contract, again on the Vikings, we're talking about both teams. They gave him $10 million, which means they value him a little bit more than what he can do. And so what I'm saying is, I don't know where Adoree fits. If these kids get burnt early, you got to put them out there. And the last thing I'll say is that I'm curious is, I like Deontay Banks, but I don't know if he's built for Shane Bowen's system. I think Bowen's system is more a zone-heavy system. Think about Patrick Graham and what James Bradbury did and what they accomplished, right? And how they kind of deployed. That's kind of what Shane Bowen's going to do. I hate to use the word bend but don't break, but it's more of those things that they're going to give up a lot of yardage between the 20s. But then when you get inside the red zone, that's when they're really going to clamp down. So, well, I will say, no, it looks like a desperate signing. Had they done it earlier on in camp, it would have been a little bit different. But Banks was drafted for Wink Martindale. People forget about that. Wink Martindale's high-fiving Joe Shane last year in the war room because and like I think it was Daniel Meyer or Rich Eisen. One of them goes, they got a guy for Wink Martindale's defense. He's going to fit perfectly into that defense, right? And now you have Shane Bowen who runs a different style. I'm just curious to see if they're going to gel, what they're because training camp is a little different. You see a practice rep, right, and you see Brian Burns blow by the tackle. But what you don't see is like the quarterback steps up. So even though the block looks bad, it's actually good. So I'm hoping that the wide nine doesn't leave too many gaping holes for a guy like Aaron Jones and the dump offs underneath, because we're going to need those guys. If they don't get home, there's going to be a long year. Just put it that way. And again, this is going to be a tough test.
Long day.
Tough test. People laugh at this Vikings offensive line. They have continuity. I know that they're missing something. I know that Dexter Lawrence did have success, but let's not forget they did throw for a lot of yards on the Giants last time. Again, different defense, different philosophy. So we'll see how they chip. They don't have T.J. Hockenson, so they might use more 12 personnel and kind of keep a chipper in there, depending on who's getting beat the most. Kayvon Thibodeau, you can't be absent in this game, my friend. You got to be present. We talk about Kayvon Thibodeau a lot, and people get mad because you're a hater. You're talking about him. The one thing I will say about Kayvon Thibodeau last year, he disappeared in games, and he needs to be more. We need to see number 5 in the screen a lot more being talked about, and your body language. Come on, be a little bit more of a leader. Don't mope on the sidelines.
I'd hope with I would assume Burns and Dexter Lawrence getting a lot of attention. That helps Kayvon Thibodeau get a lot more just one-on-one situations and just being able to make some things happen and be a lot more disruptive. Like you said, need the consistency there. I definitely agree. Does anyone know how Porter Jr. has looked?
He had a solid year last year. So, I mean, to be honest, he probably was slightly better than Deontay Banks, and you could have. I don't want to make an indictment on Joe Shane, but what it's saying is that you could have gotten a guy later as well. But he's playing fine. I don't want to poo on the kid because Banks was solid last year. I just think Banks fits Wink's defense better than he fits this defense, and that might look bad on the kid because he's going to be fired. Like, you think about this way, right? If the opening series for the Vikings, you see Deontay Banks 5 yards off, it's called curtains, right? When Wink Martindale was there, he likes to bump his guys at the line, get physical. So we need to see that because you're going to probably have to play a lot of man coverage and bring a blitz or two and risk the big play to get home to Sam Darnold. That's what I feel is going to have to happen. Is they're going to block the offensive line is going to be able to contain, the guys a little bit. The guys are going to leak through, but then they're going to have to bring the blitz, and that's where you're going to find out how good both offensive lines are on both sides. Because Brian Flores got a great scheme, and he's going to bring the house, and he's going to bring the house a lot. But he also changes his personnel. I don't know about Sam Bowen. I just know what I got from Tennessee. Bend but don't break, but they were fantastic in the red zone. If they can do that, and the Giants don't turn the ball over, because that's what happens with bend but don't break. They get tired, and then they eventually break. So.
Yeah, I mean, I can see, but as far as let's go to score predictions. I mean, look, I don't think this is going to be anything. It's definitely not going to be a track meet. That's for certain. I think this will be a pretty low scoring affair somewhere. I think 16-13, something like that. A game, one of those kind of type of games, maybe a game winning field goal or something or another. But I think this will be a pretty tightly contested matchup. I think the Giants do come out on top.
Yeah, I think it's 23-20, the Giants. A field goal. Okay. The one thing that they have an advantage on with the Vikings is their kicking game. And, that probably, rookie kicker, Meadowlands wins could be kind of funky. I could easily see him missing a field goal and then, over-unders. He wants over-under for Daniel Jones and Neighbors and that stuff. What are your over-unders?
Oh, well, let me see. I got
Mets,
soft travel now. All that shit.
no Mets is trying. No Mets is whipping us into shape. He's like, you guys will keep going, So what's so funny?
Over under for Daniel Jones. Let's say
199 yards.
Over under 200 yards passing. We'll keep it.
That
In a,
I'm going to go slightly over. And when I mean slightly, I think
over
he's going to throw for
under.
like 225 is what I think he's going to throw for.
Over under 1 touchdown pass.
Push. I'm going to push.
You want to take the push, so you think he'll pretty much have one?
Yeah, maybe he'll. You know what? Maybe he'll. If you're talking overall touchdowns, maybe he'll have 2 because he'll run one in and he'll throw one in. So, so my over under for total touchdowns for Daniel Jones is 2.
2, so you'll run one in, pass one, and pass for 1.
Yeah,
I can see that. I can see it. But okay, Malik Neighbors over under 5 catches in his debut.
5 catches. I'll go over that. I think they're going to force the ball a little bit to him, and I think that number is going to go up a little bit more.
Okay, I could see. I could potentially see it, but you know what happens when Daniel Jones forces things. Yeah.
Oh, don't talk. No. Sorry. Don't. No. I have no comment on that.
Over under from another over under from Malik Neighbors. Over under 1 touchdown catching his debut.
You know what I'm going to go? No, I'm going to say 1 total touchdown because, because I don't know. No, I'm going to say no. I don't think he has a touchdown. I think he has a good game though.
All right, how about one more from Malik? Over under 85 yards receiving.
I'll say he's over that. I think he'll be close to 100 yards. I think he's going to have to be. They don't have. Listen, if Byron Murphy and Shaq Griffin can take Wan'Dale Robinson and Jalen Hyatt 1-on-1, and you have Gilmore and the other safeties, they're going to have to find ways to get him the ball, and he's the biggest playmaker out there. So, I think they're going to try to force him, and they're going to try to have to force it to him. So I think he's going to have a little bit more than that. And he might even have a big catch for all we know.
We will see. But we got to move it along, everybody. We got to move it along. We got a couple more games to talk about.
Couple more games.
And we got to go down to the nation's nation's capital, man. We got
down in Tampa Bay.
Down in Tampa Bay, but yeah, Washington going to Tampa Bay week to take on the Buccaneers 4:25 p.m. on Sunday afternoon, man. Jaden Daniels making his debut. And what you expect to see from the young man in his first NFL game? Regular season game.
First regular season game. I think you can. You know how you said over under 200 yards. I think he'll have 200 yards passing, and probably 50 or 60 yards rushing, and a touchdown. I think the Tampa Bay defense is pretty solid. They're going to keep him in check a bit, but I think he's still going to be able to make some plays. That defense, while it is good, they'll get to CJ. I think he's a rookie. You don't want to lose to a rookie, and it's going to be on the road in Tampa Bay in what's that? Jack Kent Stadium or whatever they play down there in the pirate ship or something like that. I think
Raymond James Stadium.
Yeah. I think you're going to see them. I don't know if he's going to struggle, but guys like Jaden Daniels can make up a lot of deficiencies by just running a little bit, right? Like look what uh Lamar Jackson did, right? He kind of came in and you didn't have to pass the ball with him. If you simplify the game for him and make him a drop back and go and kind of just make it simple, I think it'll be okay for him. But that Tampa Bay defense, Todd Bowles is gonna have your head spinning a little bit. So I think he's gonna have a solid game, but he's gonna look like a rookie.
Well, I mean, I look for Jaden Daniels to come out here. I think he's going to have a. I picked this as one of my upset specials for the week, man. I think Jaden Daniels
Wow.
comes out, man, has a really good performance in his debut, man. I think he's really going to show the league some really impressive things, man. I think his upside is just through the roof, man. Things he can do not only with his arm, with his legs, man. This guy, I mean, he can do it all. He can make every throw. He can, I mean, on the move. It's just he's a fun guy to watch, and I think Washington may have really truly got their guy, man, to lead them into their next into a new era of Washington Commanders football, man. I think he's going to come out there, and he's going to have his growing pains in the beginning, obviously ups and downs that come with a young quarterback. But I think this Washington team is really going to be one of those teams that down the street that down the line is going to going to be like absolutely, they're gonna be a team that nobody's gonna want to play late and get into November and December. That part of that part of the season, I think they're gonna be one of those pesky teams that no
Well,
one's gonna want to
thanks.
see on their schedule, man. So,
I'm glad. I've never done anything to you, but thanks. God.
but oh man, but so I look for this game week one. I think Jaden Daniels comes out, he makes a statement. I think this is gonna be a really good. I think this could be potentially another good game, really good strong game. The Buccaneers obviously they got to go out there. They got to keep pace with the Atlanta Falcons in that NFC South division, who I think most people have as probably their favorites down there as the Atlanta Falcons. But the Buccaneers, the defending NFC South champions, man, they want to come out with something to prove. They want to also prove that they weren't just some fluke team from a year ago, tumbling into the playoffs. They want to come out there and prove that they belong.
Fair enough.
And this will be a fun one, man. But
And I'm
this should be a
never
fun
gonna
one.
support him, but hey, I want to see what Baker Mayfield does. What about the Washington defense? Tell me about them.
The Washington defense, man.
Do you think they're going to hold
That's
up
going to be
against?
another interesting group.
They have what do we have? We still have Chris Godwin. We still have Mike Evans. Right? Baker Mayfield's pretty decent. I mean, what do you think Washington's going to do? I like what they did on defense, but do you think they'll be able to hold up with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers?
I think they can. I mean, as good as those, like what you just mentioned, some good names. Obviously, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin. These guys are they're they're really, but there's still something like it's just. I want to say it's something like it's not really like all that like overly explosive, and they can have those off games and off days, man, where things just ain't quite going right. And it seems to be something I've noticed with Tampa Bay. They can have they can have those kind of games where like Chris Godwin sometimes he's forget that he's even out there sometimes, and then Mike Evans, he's gonna always he's Mike Evans. He's been 1,000-yard receiver his entire career. You know what I mean? And I think the guy is probably the most underrated receiver in the league. But but at the end of the day, this chat is fucking me up right now. I can't stay focused right now. The chat is fucking me up. But
Oh, it's good. It's
but
NFL Week 1, baby. NFL Week 1.
this is week one, man. This is definitely week one. But I just think I like you were talking about it, like you got the leadership of a damn who the fuck
Bobby
I'm so
Wagner.
bad with names. Damn linebacker, the linebacker,
Bobby
the
Wagner.
veteran linebacker, Bobby
Bobby
Wagner.
Wagner.
Yeah, Bobby Wagner. I mean, like you said, like with his presence out there, like I don't like I said, I know he's not the same player like that he once was, like in his Seattle days and whatnot. But just his leadership on the field and his knowledge of the game, his football IQ,
Well,
and keep
yes.
these guys in check. I mean, Emmanuel Forbes, You know what I mean? I mean, the rookie from last year who also he had some flashes of brilliance a season ago as well. I mean, so
Is he starting?
if he takes that next step in I mean, I would assume he was, but I mean, I could be wrong. I
No,
don't
I
know.
just
Well, I don't know Washington's business like that.
I haven't seen much about him. So I'm just last I heard he was third string. So
Oh wow! I see. I didn't see. Now you put me on. I didn't know he fell. I didn't know he fell off like that or fell into the doghouse like that. But
I mean, he might be. I
I
mean, he
mean,
might be the
just
starter
whatever.
now.
Uh, Nonetheless, I don't know. I'm not sure exactly who they're going to have out there, but I just think that they'll be able to do enough to be able to maybe contain that Tampa Bay offense and get a big Week 1 win, man. I think Jaden Daniels comes out and
I
puts
think
his
he
name
goes.
on the map. I'm not saying he's going to go out and have a CJ Stroud. Oh my goodness gracious! I don't think we're going to see a CJ Stroud type performance, but I do think that we'll see like some. I think we'll see some flashes of brilliance, and I think we'll see a young man that's definitely on his way, man. James Daniels is like he is the real deal, and I think he's gonna. I think
Yeah,
he's my rookie of the year. I believe he's my rookie of the year, Jaden Daniels. I mean, I'm not slighting Caleb Williams in any way, shape, or form. But I just think Jaden Daniels is brings a little something extra to the table. Like I said, with his ability, with his legs, and how dynamic he can truly be all across the board.
yeah. I think Emmanuel Forbes. It doesn't matter, but he's a backup to Benjamin St. Just. So he might be in there in the slot. Like you're not. You make a good point. They have Dante Fowler. He's pretty good. You know, I mean, he's not great. I shouldn't say pretty good. He's a solid guy. He can get you 6 sacks, right? Frank Louvu, I heard was having a phenomenal camp. Like they were talking about him being the MVP of the camp. That's how good he was. And then they had Bobby Wagner. So they have three competent linebackers. Colin Farrell, Deron Payne. I don't know if he's playing. It says he's questionable here. And Jonathan Allen in the middle. That's pretty strong. And Dorian Armstrong. I think he's from the Cowboys. So they have they're not going to be a sieve on defense. They're going to be like you said. I think they're going to be a solid defense. They're not going to be overly good. They're not going to be overly bad, but they'll be there. You'll know that they're there, and they'll make some stops here and there. Whether or not their young quarterback can do things for them, but I don't think this unit is going to be overly great. I think they'll be, they'll be. I wouldn't say a bend but don't break defense because I think they're going to be kind of worse than that. I think they're going to be competent. They're going to be able to line up. They're going to make some plays. They may not be the greatest out there, but Dan Quinn knows how to do defense, and that's one of his strong suits. So you know that at least they're going to know what they're doing. And with Bobby Wagner out there, I don't think there's going to be too much of a communication gap. So we'll see. I'm excited. I'm excited to see what they do
And
as a football fan.
you were correct. Emmanuel Forbes is not starting. He is the second. He is number 2 on the depth chart. He's number 2. So on the one side. So all right, guess he did fall out of good graces with the coaching staff for right now. But
Well,
anyway,
again, another guy who fits a different
like you,
system. Again, that's all. It's just a guy who fits a different system, and he stinks. He's not doing that well. You got to
well, yeah.
tackle in Dan Quinn's system.
So
He doesn't tackle. So yeah, he's on the team though. So he's on the team.
well, we'll see. We'll find out. We'll find out what they can do, man. Starting week 2, bro. Week 2, they get that first shot at them week 2. So we'll find out. But we're talking about week 1. We'll get into that next week. Boy, oh boy, you guys in the chat, I love you all, man. No matter what, man. Appreciate y'all coming through.
You have been
Appreciate the
very
love.
entertaining.
Appreciate the
Appreciate
support,
it.
man. It's definitely been entertaining.
Love
I think
or hate, we love it. I'm just saying. You're here either way.
absolutely,
Works for me.
yeah. But let's go. Let's go. You want to because we still need to keep kind of pushing this thing along a little bit, man. We got one
Yeah,
more
one more
game
game.
still. I don't know if you have any more thoughts on this one at all.
Well, the one thing I want to see real quick is I just want to see how Brian Robinson. We forget about him in the backfield with Austin Eckler. They have a solid two back
Let's talk
duo.
about that. You're right.
So, we don't talk about Brian Robinson enough. I think he's gonna. We talk about over unders for guys. I think he's gonna have over 1,000 yards this season. That's just me. Call me crazy. I think it's a dual threat out of the backfield. I think he's going to be an X factor in a lot of these games. One that we don't talk about because we're so caught up in looking at the shiny new toy that is Jaden Daniels that we're overlooking what Brian Robinson wasn't bad last year, and if he wasn't shot, he probably plays a full season, and he probably gets 1,000 yards. He is a dynamic back, and
Yeah, I agree.
I'm ready to see him break out. And a full season, listen, he was good at Alabama. We know what happened with the injuries that he had right last year because of the incident that happened to him. Right, and that was last year, right? Coming in, I do believe that was his issue, or was that 2 years ago? Am I missing my years up?
Yeah, I will be watching it, Gregor.
So either way, Brian Robinson's a guy that I think can help the young quarterback out. When you're giving the ball to him, think about this, right? We didn't talk about this with the Eagles, but think about this with the Commanders. Just go down this lane. I don't know if we can have thinking like this. God forbid we talk about another team, but you're going around the corner, and all of a sudden Jaden Daniels is coming there. And then out of nowhere, boom, he pitches right to Brian Robinson up the sideline. These RPOs are going to be crazy, right? When you have a guy like Brian Robinson. And then you have a guy like Eckler out of the backfield who, again, can help on third down when the kid's going to probably have two reads. He's probably going to have the one read, check down, run. That's probably going to be his assignment. Check your first read. If it's not there, look for your check down, and then go, right? Depending on what the play is called. And remember, you can talk to them in the helmet for a long time. So we'll see what happens. But I think Brian Robinson is a guy that we should touch on before we go. Over under, I think he's going to get 1,000. But do you think he's going to get 1,000 in this game? How do you think he goes over under 100 yards? How about that?
In this game, I think he's a little under 100 in this game. I don't think he quite gets to that mark in this one. I still think. Whereas I don't think Austin Eckler is necessarily going to really take carries away from Brian Robinson Jr. He's still going to be involved in the offense because of how things that he can do and what he brings to the table. What I do believe Brian Robinson will be this season, I think he's going to be an absolute touchdown machine. I would not be surprised if Brian Robinson Jr. potentially leads the league in rushing touchdowns.
Wow,
It wouldn't shock me
that's
one
bold.
bit. I think he can be a touchdown machine. I think because he's going to do the heavy lifting, especially down on the goal line. Especially on the goal line, he's going to do the heavy lifting down there. And I think you're going to see him really punch a lot of touchdowns, punch a lot in this year.
Well,
if this offense can get it going.
Let me ask you this: do you think he's similar to James Conner in kind of run style? The backs from Arizona.
Absolutely, that's actually a good comparison. That's a pretty solid comparison right there. I mean, they both run. They're both pretty more deceptively physical the way they run the football. Their running styles are they're both downhill runners, man. They're not doing any dancing around in the backfield. They're getting after it, and they're going to get after it and get what they can take and take what they can get. So, that's
think about this,
really
right?
good comparison.
I just asked because Cliff Kingsbury was with the Arizona Cardinals. He had Kyler Murray and he had James Conner there, right? Excuse me. So this kind of is a similar kind of skill sets that Jaden Daniels and Kyler Murray and James Conner and Brian Robinson kind of possess. And I think, coaching matters, styles matter, and you've got guys who are in his style. I was wrong about Brian Robinson. Last year, he played 15 games. It was the previous year he got shot. But he had 4.1 yards per carry. He had 5 touchdowns. He only got the ball 178 times. And remember, they were passing the ball all over the yard last year. I expect that to change. I don't expect them to be the pass-heavy offense they were last year with Sam Howell.
Yeah,
I think they're going to
get back 50 times a game and shit.
No. Yeah. Robinson, if you're in fantasy, pick that guy up.
I think he's going to be a touchdown machine, people. You heard it here first, Mac the Giants fan. Brian Robinson Jr., I believe, will be a touchdown machine this season. I just got this
Insider.
feeling, man. He's because I just think it's just I kids. I mean, you figure every time when they get down on the goal line, they're going to Brian Robinson. I don't think it's no knock on Austin Eckler, but between the two options, they're going to go with Brian Robinson in those situations. I think more times than not, and I just think he's going to punch a lot in. So, who you like in this one? I told you I like Washington for the upset.
I like Tampa Bay. I think Tampa Bay is, I think they're in a slightly different place. And again, when you're Tampa Bay, you went to the playoffs, the divisional round. You're trying to get to that championship. You're trying to flirt with that Super Bowl. That's what you signed Baker for. That's why you brought all these guys back. That's why you have the line that you did. So this is a game they need to win. So I just think they're going to be Todd Bowles is going to be a little too much for Jaden Daniels. I think it's going to be something along the lines of 28-24 Tampa Bay.
All right, there you go. So Adams got the Bucks. I got this. I was going to say the Skins. I got the Commanders. Let's go. One more game, man. We got one more to talk about. Dallas Cowboys.
It's a great game.
Where are they playing at? They playing in Cleveland.
Cleveland, yeah.
Dallas headed to Cleveland, taking on them Browns. You got a top team in the NFC. You got a top team in the AFC. Two Goliaths. You got the Dallas Cowboys, their freshly signed CD Lamb, back in full effect. Dak Prescott still looking to get paid. Dalvin Cook added to the mix. Zeke Elliott back in town. Still got the other receiver, the one that moves around team to team every year.
Brandon Cooks. Year, he hasn't moved in the team in a while. So
still got Brandon Cooks in town, but then the Cleveland Browns got that defense. They got Myles Garrett in that defense.
They got that D.
Think about this matchup.
I don't know. The kids say pause these days, so I thought I'd say that. But it's interesting because this is a big test for both teams. The Cleveland Browns want to establish themselves as legit Super Bowl contenders because their defense is out of this world good. The Cowboys have had some drama, not as much as like the Giants or any other team in the East. I think the Eagles have been the quietest. Then I would say probably the Cowboys, and then I would say Washington, and then the loudest is actually I would say it would go Philly, Washington, Cowboys, Giants in terms of the amount of noise that you've heard, right? The other Washington, obviously they had their drama with the new quarterback. Philadelphia kind of going about their business. Dallas, with all the contracts. And it's kind of interesting. They need to establish because it was before I came on tonight. I saw NFL Network not picking the Cowboys in any of the playoff scenarios. They had the Eagles winning the division and getting into the playoffs, but they had other teams and no Giant fans. None of them were the New York Giants. So if you're mad at me, go take it up with fucking NFL Network because they also don't believe the Giants get into the playoffs. But they didn't have the Cowboys in the playoffs, which I thought was interesting. And I'm like, And then somebody in a Twitter space goes, I think the Cowboys are going to be 10-7 and not make the playoffs. And I'm like, wow, interesting. They didn't do much in free agency. I do think they did one move that I like. They had Mike Zimmer, so they brought in Kendricks, the linebacker who was with him with Minnesota. And I think their defense is going to be solid. It's going to be what their defense can do to Deshaun Watson in that offense. Because they have a solid offensive line, the Cleveland Browns. They have a solid offensive line. Their quarterback play doesn't need to be great to win the game. But what will this defense do? If this defense can't get pressure, it's going to be a long day at the office for them. I think Dak Prescott's going to come to play. I think he can hit some hole shots. I think they'll be able to block up. Dalvin Cook gives them a little bit more juice in the back end, but we'll see what happens. He's still kind of coming off, not doing nothing for like months. So I don't know. He might be on a pitch count, but we'll see. And Zeke Elliott, those type of things. I think it's going to be one of those games that every big game you could say this could be a preview of the Super Bowl. These two teams, that's what they're looking to do. Cowboys are looking to ride that out. And if the Cowboys win this game, they're going to be a tough out, I do believe.
Well, no Met CD Lamb is looking like a full go for Sunday, bro. Full go. They've been working him in easy. They've been taking it easy on him in practice. Keeping him on a pitch count during practice. But he's a full go for Sunday, bro.
That's a difference maker. We'll see. It really comes down to what Cleveland's offense does against the Cowboys defense, because I do believe the Cowboys are going to score points on offense. They're just a juggernaut. I do believe they're going to, I don't think they're going to score, over 28, but they'll score at least 24 points. I do feel it's what the Cleveland Browns do defensively, because I think they can hang with the Cowboys because their defense is that good. But the last time we saw the Browns, they got railroaded by the Ravens, right? And it wasn't they got absolutely torched offensively and the run game. They couldn't stop a nosebleed. So if they can't stop the run, it's not going to matter who's out there. The Cowboys will just walk them down every week. So
yeah, I mean this is going to be like a heavyweight title.
I do
fight,
have my own opinion. I'm just saying they also said the Giants aren't making the playoffs. So if you have a problem with me, have a problem with them. Take it up with them. My God. Oh, and by the way, Kurt Warner, Steve Mariucci, and Gerald McCoy all played football. But nice try.
but yeah, this is like Rocky and Clubber Lang. You know what I mean? Like this is going to be a big
game.
one, man. I think you got Cleveland, who's they're not necessarily dynamic offensively, so to speak, but they're solid. They're still going to be a hard nosed running football team. I think even without Nick Chubb, they're going to still come out there and they're going to try to establish their run game because that's what the Cleveland Browns do offensively, and they're going to try to make it easier for Deshaun Watson. And this is also interesting to see Deshaun Watson because we about the struggles of the season ago, then the injury, then they shut him down completely. But Deshaun Watson, man, looking to rebound and see if he can get back into his old Houston Texans like form, man, and be a top quarterback in this league again. So it's going to be interesting to see him out there and see what he can do and what he can maybe make of the rest of his career. So it's going to be it's a lot of storylines here in some of these week one matchups, and I think the NFC's has some really intriguing ones up top to bottom. I think all four of the matchups this week for in the division for the divisional teams here, it's some interesting matchups. They're all somewhat intriguing to say the least. You know what I mean?
You have
I know,
one that's kind of very even, right? You have one where the two heavyweights are in it, and actually, even the Eagle game is a heavyweight game, right? Because those four games, right? Cleveland's trying to get to the Super Bowl. They went to the playoffs last year. Obviously, we talk about their defense. You got Deshaun Watson here for a reason. They're trying to, do more than just be one and done, or not just make it to the divisional round. They're trying to claw for a chip. Same thing with the Cowboys. Cowboys have adversity. Dak Prescott, I feel like is, if I'm a betting man, and I'm not, but if I were, I bet money on Dak Prescott having a huge game.
I just think it's tough against that. That's a tough ass against this Cleveland defense. But I just think it is, man. I think Dak will still be Dak. He know what he does, in particular in the regular season, obviously, and what he's capable of.
He'll have a great year.
But I don't know. I still think Cleveland's.
I
think Cleveland's defense. Yeah, Cleveland's defense is just a lot to handle, man. And they just have studs, and they're going to be leaning on this defense a bit because, like I said, offensively, you don't really know too much what to expect right now. Usually they just lean on Nick Chubb on the offensive side of the football, and they don't have that luxury right now, unfortunately. And but we know they're going to still come out and try to get that run game going. And like I said, if Deshaun Watson can get it going with his arm, then who knows, man? Who knows? The sky could be the limit for this Cleveland football team, but.
Comments like those are funny.
I don't know. This is a tough one for me. This is a tough one for me to call because I do agree. I think Dallas comes out of here with the W, man. I think they go in there and they find a way to get it done. I think it'll be I think it's going to be a tough game. It's going to be a great game in that 4 o'clock window on Sunday, man.
Who did I
And I
pick for
will
this
be
game?
tuned in for most of it after I do my aftermath. Because I got to come with the aftermath after the Giants game. But I'll be tuned in to the. I know that was a shameless plug for the aftermath, the True Blue aftermath. Immediately following the New York Giants game, hopefully victory Sunday against the Minnesota Vikings. Make sure you tune in live, immediate following the football game, right here on Mac
That's
with
so
Mac the
funny.
Giants fan. Keep it locked. but but
Hey,
anyway, back to this back to this
that's
Dallas
funny.
and Cleveland game. Yeah, I just yeah, it's going. I don't know. I'm excited for this one. It's going to be fun. You got what we know is a dynamic offense in Dallas. You got what we know is one of the absolute top tier defenses with the Cleveland Browns. Man, something's got to give, man. They always say, they say a good defense is usually, is always going to come out on top of a good offense, man. But I think I think the Dallas Cowboys do get it done here. I think it'll be a nail biter, though, a bit of a nail biter. I think they get it done
I also, I
on the
also
road week
looking back
one.
at the notes, looking back at the notes that we took for the other show, I picked the Cowboys. I'm going to stick with them. I think they're going to be. I think Deshaun Watson is going to be. I think they're going to stifle Deshaun Watson, right? They, I don't. They have some good players on Cleveland. Cooper. They have Njoku. And last year, it wasn't the quarterback that stopped them. It was they couldn't stop anybody. So that's the part that we have to find out. So I'm going to stick with the Cowboys. I don't know. I don't know if it's going to be high scoring. Oh, let's see. I'm going to go 28-24 Cowboys. Something like that. It's going to be up there. It's going to be entertaining. That's for sure. Oh, you're not entertained?
Well, let's do a little more entertaining real quick. Let's have some more quick little fun real quick. Let's do NFC East breakdown. How do you see the division fall? How do you see the division unfolding?
Well, I think the Eagles are going to be the winner. I think the Cowboys will be second. I do believe the Giants will be third. Okay, a lot of people are picking them to be fourth. I think the Commanders are going to come in very close. I think it'll be a battle for first and second, and a battle for third and fourth between the Giants and the Commanders. And I think the Cowboys and the
That seems to be
Eagles.
the same battle we've been seeing.
I think the Giants have they have a lot they need to real talk. Because I know people are going to be upset, but analytically, they have a lot of um, they have a lot of things that need to go right in the NFL season. And even though we went to the playoffs in 2022, we went 3-6-1 down the stretch, and a lot of the things that broke our way early on didn't break our way later, right? And our defense is kind of needs to come to its own a little bit, and our offensive line needs to gel a little bit. And I think those kind of growing pains I don't necessarily know in these two games, but against the Browns and these teams that again are going to be kind of on a different level than where we are. That's where we're going to have to find and earn our medal, right? I think they're going to be 7-10. I think I think 5-12, 6-11 for the Commanders, maybe 7-10. I think they can max out. I think the Cowboys are 10 to 12 wins, and I think the Eagles are gonna be fall anywhere between 12 to 14 wins. I think that's how it's gonna go for me. So I just think the with the moves the Giants have made, uh, they're good, but they're not as good as where they need to be. And I just think they're kind of there's other teams on their schedule that are going to be fighting for the same thing. Now, the quarterback said that they're going to the playoffs, so I'm going to hold them to that standard. If they don't make the playoffs, then they all got to go. All right, you said it, not me. My standard was, and what I see, and what I think this team might do is 7-10. What they see is different than what I see. Now go prove it. Make the playoffs. Otherwise, you're all getting fired. That's all.
Well,
Go ahead and
uh,
prove it.
I got it pretty much the same as you as far as the standings. I got the Eagles coming in 13-4. I got then Dallas. I got them at about
You're
11-6.
swabbing their nubs.
But I believe Washington and the Giants. I'm getting this weird. I think they come about even. I think 8-9. 8-9 for the Commanders and the Giants. 8-9 for the Commanders and the Giants, both with Washington edging them out in the tiebreakers, making the Giants technically fourth place.
Wow. Hey, how about hey, chat. He just said the Giants are in fourth place. Who's the hater now? Oh my fucking word. I mean, my God. Where are the Hornets? Where are the Hornets now? I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
But we will see. We will see. We'll
That's
see
why they play
if
games, folks.
we'll see if Daniel Jones's prediction comes true. He says we're a playoff game. We're gonna definitely talk about that. The top 10. I was getting ready to get to that. The top 10 was released yesterday on Giants.com. Top 10 New York Giants of all time, and it was a list. It was something to behold. I will tell you, folks. It was some names on that amongst that group of people, a group of 10, man. I don't know if you've seen it already, Adam, but
I have not. I'm waiting for you to debut it for me. So
big timers on that list coming in at let me pull it up real quick. Let me pull it up. Oh, I should have already had it ready. I'm sorry, I'm so unprepared. Where the hell? Oh, here we go. Here we go. No, not the video. No, don't do that. I'm sorry. I'm not good at technology, y'all. I'm But anyway, we know Eli was amongst the top 10. I know Eli came in at number 8 on the list.
Oh.
I'll start with the modern day players that we all know, because honestly, the majority of the top 10 was actually a lot of old timers that maybe everybody might not be so familiar with. But Eli was in at number 8.
Oh,
Harry
Eli.
Carson came in at number 7.
Wow.
Michael Strahan was number 5.
Wow.
And we obviously know who number 1 was. I don't think I need to tell you who number 1 was. I think we all know.
Andy Robustelli.
Number 1 was Lawrence. Was obviously the goat. The goat.
Oh, Lawrence, man. No one will ever be like him, man. See, I just want to talk about Lawrence Taylor for a minute, because I don't think people appreciate how great a player he was. He's not a great guy. Let's take that out of it. But being being the player that he was, there have not been many athletes that have changed their sport the way LT has changed the game of football. Okay. Think about that. Nobody, we talk about Jordan. There's guys that transcend Jordan that can still be kind of, Jordan was transcendental. They made Jordan rules. I get it. He's up there. He will be up there in his sport as well. That's why I think he's also the GOAT of his sport, because he transcended the game beyond. They changed the rules for him, right? Lawrence Taylor, they changed the rules for him. And there's the only other guy that reminded me of Lawrence Taylor, who I thought would have came close to breaking his sack records, was Derek Thomas. He was absolutely the modern day LT for the late 80s, early 90s. As LT was winding down, Derek Thomas was coming up. But LT was the best, unquestionably to me, in my eyes, unquestionably the best defensive player of all time. Because while I like Reggie White and Bruce Smith, and I have Bruce Smith number 2, Reggie White number 3 on my all-time defensive list, Lawrence Taylor is number 1 to me because of what he's done for the game, how he's changed the game. We don't have edge rushers without Lawrence Taylor. Okay, we don't. I mean, the guy. Everybody else had to have a game plan. Bruce Smith, Reggie White. Lawrence Taylor would fall asleep and not know what the game plan is, walk out, wreak havoc that day. So when you think about great players, I just want you to sit back and look at Lawrence Taylor, because he was one of the GOATs that I believe that when you talk about him, there's not much of an argument to say that he is the greatest defensive player of all time, because of the sheer impact, not just the numbers, but think about what he did. He's one of the only people to win a defensive MVP award, like as NFL MVP, not just the NFL MVP. You know how good you have to be the NFL MVP as a linebacker?
He's still the last defensive player to do it. He is the last defensive player to win MVP of the league.
Think about that. think about that. Just think about that. And that's what I mean. That's what I mean by true greatness. Because when you sit back and you talk about many other parts, any other parts of the defense, this guy did so many things that really revolutionized the game. So I will not only do I think he's number one in the Giants, but he has to be, to me, my number one in history of the NFL.
Yeah, personally, I agree with that, man. I mean, LT was just an absolute game changer. I mean, he is the reason why left tackles get paid the kind of money that they get paid. It's because of Lawrence Taylor. He made that position a premium position because he made teams have to go out there and get guys that can handle people like him. So
This is funny.
yeah, Lawrence Taylor absolutely just
Fan police
completely
out
changed
here.
the game when he burst on the scene, man. And a little funny story because I was watching this, the release when they were releasing the names yesterday. They had Harry Carson and Eli Manning in studio. They're talking to Harry Carson about when the Giants drafted Lawrence Taylor, how he felt about it and everything. And Harry Carson straight up said, "We didn't want him." He said, "We didn't even want that guy." He said we were good. We felt though we were good on defense. We wanted some weapons on offense to try to get the offense going and make the offense better. And they drafted another linebacker. And he said he watched that guy. He said then as soon as he watched him practice, he said, "Oh yeah." He said that boy good. He said, What's up,
God.
Earl Cole? Thanks for stopping in, man. Appreciate you, Earl, man. Thanks a lot, man.
See, it's funny. One last
in,
story
man, for a minute.
is that I heard about was, he you hear him on the play, right? They're watching film, and the play is to, I don't know, drop back in coverage, and he rushed the passer and sacks the quarterback, and the Bill Belichick's like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "I don't know, but maybe you should put that in the playbook on Monday." Basically, like, I don't know what we were doing there. I didn't know my assignment. I just did what I thought I had to do. Right? That's how good of a guy he was. Right? There's another story I heard where he was asleep in the meeting, right? And Bill Belichick's installing the defense, and he's like, da, 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 and he's like, Lawrence, are you with us? Right? And Lawrence is sitting there snoring away. He kicks his chair, and he goes, "Lawrence, go up, do you know what we're doing here?" He gets he takes the marker out of Bill Belichick's hands. He's like, "Look, this is what I do. This is what he does. This is what this guy's going to do. And this is what we do. Boom, sack the quarterback. Can I go back to sleep now?" And he was like, he couldn't say anything because LT was right. Basically, the guy go on a bender the night before, have a great night, come back in, fall asleep in the meetings, and still know what to do on Sunday. That's what I mean by absolute greatness, is when you are just a maniac and you don't even need to look at film or watch a tape, or you can go out and party the night before. There's a story that they brought hookers to his room the night before and he went out and had 3 sacks. I'm like, it's insane.
Well, look, let me fill the chat on the rest of the top 10, because I mean it's all old timer players, but I know some of these names you guys still definitely know for sure. At number two, this guy, big offensive lineman, back in the I think he played back in like the 50s. But
Andy, is it Andy?
This dude was drafted in the 27th round, folks. Wrap your head around that. The 27th round is when Roosevelt Brown was drafted to the New York Football Giants.
They had a draft New York Football
Giants.
Around a day.
And he went on to become he came from Morgan State. Yeah, I said it, Morgan State. Yeah, we don't know Morgan State for football at all. And we still don't. And yet he came out there and became a Hall of Fame talent in the NFL, man. Roosevelt Brown, number 2. He's an offensive tackle that some consider one of the maybe absolute best to ever do it, offensive lineman to ever play. Number 3, they had Mel Hine. Mm-hmm. At number 4,
I've heard of Mel Hine.
At number 4, you got Frank Gifford. I know everybody knows Frank Gifford.
Everybody
Frank Gifford,
knows
one
Frank
of the
Gifford.
greatest running backs in the history of the New York Giants.
And broadcaster.
According to this list, he is the greatest running back in the history of the New York Giants, according to this list.
John Mara made the final 10.
At number 6, you had Emlyn Tennille.
And
Emlyn
yeah.
Tennille was the first African American player drafted to the New York Football Giants. He is also he's just done. He was a tremendous talent back in he was way back in the day as well, in the 40s, 50s, or something like that too.
27th
But
round.
he
Good
was
call.
just a tremendous talent. I'm sorry, no Mets. Morgan State has talent that I didn't know about. I apologize for offending everybody who went to Morgan State. You guys have NFL talent, apparently.
Well,
Mets.
maybe he's the most famous
Keep me
one.
straight, bro. Keep me straight, bro. You know what I mean? Keep me straight.
Keep it a
But
buck.
but yeah, Emily
All
Tennille,
right.
man.
Welcome to your NFL.
Damn it.
All right.
All right.
We're
I'm
running.
sorry for that, guys. Where was I at now? Okay, I said Emily Tennille was number 6.
You're right.
Harry Carson, Eli was 7 and 8. Okay, number 9 was Sam Huff. And
Okay.
number
Good
10
linebacker.
was Andy Robust. Yeah,
Hey,
Sam
Andy
Huff was an iconic
Robustelli.
linebacker for the Giants
Well,
back in
there
the
you
day.
go. Guys that you should all
I
know.
mean,
The top 10 you should know about everybody except for maybe Mel Hine. Because if you are a Giant fan, you've studied their history. Those guys have been honored throughout the history of the Giants. So those top 10 guys specifically. So, if you don't, Google it.
absolutely.
But man, what a week, huh?
What a week. And it's here, man. It's finally here. Tomorrow, it gets real. It gets very real tomorrow night kickoff, man. Kansas City, Baltimore, great game to start kick the season off. We got some Friday night football down in Brazil. I mean, you can't ask for a better weekend, man. You're going to have some good college games on Saturday, and then we get right back to the NFL on Sunday, man. I'm going to have that red zone on and popping, watching them Giants at 1 o'clock. Man, let's get it. I'm ready. This is my favorite time of the year by far. And I'm excited and I can't wait to get this season underway tomorrow night, man.
According to the fan police, I can't be excited. So, according to the fan police. So,
but yeah, I don't have a favorite college team, man. I just kind of watch a little bit here and there. I don't really even follow honestly that closely, but I don't really have a favorite college team in particular.
Not that anybody cares. Cares.
I like SEC. I like SEC football. I like that conference. I like watching the Alabama and Georgias, and I like watching those guys play. But I don't have a favorite team. But I want to thank everybody coming out, man, for another week of the Real Deal NFC's Roundup with myself, Adam Costas, man. If you haven't already, please stop by to our channel. So hit that like button. Subscribe to our channels. Keep supporting the movement. We're going to be here with y'all all the way till February. As long as the NFC's team is still playing, we're going to keep bringing this to y'all each and every week. The chat, y'all was acting a fool today. It was crazy, but it kept me entertained a little bit. Y'all comical as hell. I don't know where it all went left a little bit, but you know what? It was still fun, and I definitely still enjoyed it. I love you guys. Appreciate all y'all support and everything y'all do for the channel. Y'all came through. This was a great show. I definitely appreciate y'all. We'll be back next Wednesday. Myself and Adam Costas, man, we're gonna be back here next Wednesday, breaking down the week 1 action and looking ahead at that week 2. Looking at that week 2, full steam ahead. So make sure y'all tune in next week. We'll be back 5:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And tune in to another edition of the Real Deal NFC East Roundup Pass. I'd like to thank you all for listening. If you was feeling this, please take time to subscribe and smack them likes. Feel free to drop a comment and let me know what you think. Don't forget to ring that bell so you know when I'm dropping new content. It's your boy, Mac the Giants Fan. You can find me on Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook at Mac the Giants Fan. That's MACDA Giants Fan.